IUL versus Roth IRA. Which one wins? What if I told you this debate is a fake narrative designed to separate you from your money? Listen, I went to undergrad and grad school in Iowa. Des Moines is the insurance capital of the US. I know the people who sell these products, and I've seen firsthand their attitude towards their clients. That's why today we're going to break down why this debate is a myth, run the actual numbers side by side, and expose the psychology they're using against you. By the end, I'll show you how to make yourself the winner of the IUL versus Roth IRA debacle, because it's not just about picking a side. Let's get into it. I watched a few of the most popular videos on the subject, so let's entertain this debate for a minute and see how these two actually stack up. First, the contribution comparison. Yes, it's true. IULs can have higher contribution limits than IRAs. One of the videos I watched mentioned clients contributing anywhere from $50 to $2,000 a month to their IUL. Two red flags here. One, the word clients. Clearly, this is somebody who sells IULs. We're left to wonder if the information is really impartial. Two, if you're contributing $50 a month to an IUL, you're probably not even hitting your Roth contribution limit. So what's the point of choosing an IUL for its higher limits? And just wait for when we compare fees, because you'll see why that higher contribution limit actually benefits the person selling it to you. Next, income limitations. Yes, there are income limits on direct contributions to Roth IRAs. So it might seem like you're out of luck and the IUL is your only option. But have you heard of the backdoor Roth? There are no income limits on Roth conversions, and that's deliberately written into the tax code. You make a non-deductible contribution to a traditional IRA and then convert it immediately into a Roth. Now, this strategy isn't for everyone, but if we're making an honest comparison here, why is it conveniently left out of the conversation? Let's talk about liquidity. Did you know you can get a tax-free loan on your IUL? But why do you need a loan to access your own money? A loan that accrues interest, reduces your death benefit, and increases your risk of policy lapse. Don't want to take the loan? You can withdraw your money instead, but not until after you pay surrender charges. That's right, surrender charges. Are you starting to see what kind of product this is? Now, with a Roth, you do need to wait at least 5 years from your first contribution, or until age 59 and a half, whichever comes later. And that might sound like a big restriction, but a Roth IRA is a retirement account, okay? It's in the name. If you need liquidity now, you should be putting your money elsewhere. Let's talk about protection, because this is one of the biggest selling points for IULs. They'll tell you that your money is protected from market downturns. And technically, that's true. Most IULs have a 0% floor, meaning if the index drops, your cash value doesn't go negative. Sounds great, right? This is actually one of the psychology tricks that we're going to get into later in the video. But here's what they don't emphasize. That protection, it comes at a cost. In exchange for that floor, your upside is typically capped around 10%. So in a year when the S&P 500 returns 25%, you only get 10. And that's assuming you have a 100% participation rate. If your participation rate is 80% and the index returns 10%, you'll only be credited 8% before the cap even comes into play. So you've got a cap limiting your upside and a participation rate shaving off even more before you hit the cap. You're giving up the best years of market performance in exchange for avoiding one of the worst ones. And when you factor in the fees we're about to talk about, that floor starts looking a lot less protective. A Roth IRA doesn't have a floor or a cap. Your investments ride the full market up and down. That means in a bad year, your portfolio drops. But in a good year, you capture all of that growth. And historically, the market trends upward. Stick around for when we run the numbers side by side, because you'll see exactly how that so-called protection really shakes out over 30 years. Let's talk about expenses. Do Roth IRAs have expenses? No, but some investment products inside a Roth can. One of the videos I watched claimed that most Roth IRAs use mutual funds, so we should compare mutual fund fees to IUL fees. It also claims that IULs can cost as little as 1% of your cash value per year. What they're not telling you is that the sales commission on an IUL can be up to 100% or more of your first year's premium. So if you put in $7,500 in year one, the agent could earn $7,500 or more right off the top. That cost gets baked into the fees that you're paying. A Roth IRA can hold individual stocks with zero fees, or low-cost ETFs at just 0.03%. But let's play along with their mutual fund argument. I used their own data on mutual fund fees to construct an average 60/40 portfolio. The weighted average fee, 0.82%, less than 1%. Even by their own data, the numbers don't support their argument. Now, tenths of a percentage point might not seem like a big deal, but let's let the numbers speak for themselves. I built a Monte Carlo simulation. Professional investment advisors use these to simulate thousands of portfolio scenarios so investors can understand the realistic outcomes of their investments. Before we dive into the numbers, let me show you the assumptions. For the Roth, we have a $7,500 contribution with a 1% fee. That's it, just two assumptions. For the IUL, we have the same $7,500 premium, a $500,000 death benefit, 10% cap on gains, a 0% floor, 100% participation rate, an administration fee, premium loads, and a cost of insurance schedule that changes every single year. That alone should tell you something. I'm giving the IUL every advantage here. So here are the results across 10,000 scenarios. This chart shows where your money ends up by year 30. The taller the bar, the more scenarios landed at that dollar amount. The further right, the more money you have. The IRA's median outcome is $910,000. The IUL, $360,000. That's not even close. And look at the distributions. The Roth has a wide range of upside because there's no cap on your returns. The IUL is clustered because that 10% cap puts a ceiling on your growth, while the fees drag you down from underneath. Now look at that growth over time. You can see the two products start to separate around year 10, and the gap just accelerates from there. And this chart shows what percentage of simulations the Roth wins in any given year. By year 10, the Roth is beating the IUL in over 80% of scenarios. By year 30, it's winning almost every time. And here's the part that really gets me. When you die, your beneficiaries receive the death benefit, but your cash value, the money we just spent all this time modeling, that goes to the insurance company. All those years of contributions, all that growth, and the insurance company keeps it. With a Roth IRA, your beneficiaries inherit everything. If you're watching this and you already have an IUL, don't panic. You're not doomed, and the worst thing you can do is make an emotional decision. Surrendering your policy without thinking it through could mean surrender charges, a tax hit, and losing your death benefit all at once. But don't throw good money after bad either. Talk to a fee-only fiduciary advisor, someone who is not earning a commission, and have them look at your specific situation. You have options, and the fact that you're here means that you're already asking the right questions. You've seen the hard numbers. Now let me show you the psychology behind all of this, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. The whole IUL versus Roth IRA framing is what's called a false dichotomy. When you present two options side by side, people automatically assume they're comparable, that they serve similar purposes. But an IUL is primarily an insurance product. A Roth IRA is a retirement account. Comparing them is like asking, should I buy a Swiss Army knife or a chef's knife? They're designed for completely different things. So why frame it this way? 3 reasons. First, legitimacy by association. The Roth IRA is a universally respected retirement tool. By putting the IUL next to it, the IUL borrows that credibility. Suddenly, it seems like they're in the same league. Second, complexity becomes an advantage. IULs are intentionally complex. Caps, floors, participation rates, surrender charges. When you compare that to a straightforward Roth, salespeople can cherry pick the features that sound good. Tax-free loans, downside protection, while they bury the costs and limitations. Third, loss aversion. These companies always emphasize what you give up with a Roth. Contribution limits, income restrictions, no downside protection. That triggers a psychological bias we all have. We fear losses more than we value equivalent gains. So the IUL starts to feel like the safer, more flexible choice, even when it's not. Here's the reality. If you need life insurance, buy term and invest the rest. I ran the same simulation But this time, I took the cost of a term life policy with the same death benefit as the IUL, and I subtracted it from the Roth contributions. And here are the results. Can you spot the difference? I can barely find it. Same death benefit, nearly the same growth, none of the fees. The only time an IUL makes sense is after you've maxed out your retirement accounts and you genuinely need permanent coverage for estate planning. And most people don't. This whole debate is designed to create a decision-making context that benefits the product with higher commissions. And guess which one that is? You'll find people online calling themselves financial strategists. But in my opinion, when you strip away the title, the strategy is simple. Move money from your wallet into theirs. Anyone can make up a professional sounding title. Even the term financial advisor isn't regulated. Anyone can call themselves that. But investment advisor, that's regulated. And that distinction matters more than most people realize. I've got an entire video breaking down how to verify who you're actually talking to. It's linked below. Let's call things what they actually are. If someone is paid a commission to sell you insurance products, they are not an investment advisor. They are an insurance salesperson. That doesn't automatically make insurance bad, but insurance products are not investments. And marketing them as investments is where people get hurt. In fact, representing an insurance product as an investment when it isn't one can violate state insurance regulations. And it happens more often than you think. So, whenever you're presented with a financial product, ask 2 questions. 1, who is getting paid? And 2, how are they getting paid? If the answer is commission, product-based compensation, or sales incentives, then you need to understand that their recommendations may be influenced by how they're compensated, not by what's best for you. And don't think this only happens to unsophisticated investors. Kyle Busch, the NASCAR driver, and his wife have publicly alleged they lost millions after being sold indexed universal life insurance policies. They've filed a lawsuit claiming that the products were misrepresented. If it can happen to someone with money, resources, and a team around him, it can happen to anyone. And these companies aren't just going after millionaires. They're targeting everyday people, your friends, your family. So share this video with somebody who needs to hear it, because the best way to fight this is making sure that people you care about stay informed. Here's one critical clarification. Registered investment advisors are required to act in your best interest when giving investment advice. But that fiduciary duty does not automatically apply when they're selling insurance. So always ask, are you acting as a fiduciary in this recommendation? And are you being compensated by commission for this product? If they don't give you a clear answer, walk away. If you've made it this far in the video, I just want to give you some encouragement. This has been a heavy video. But this industry is not designed to take advantage of you. There are bad actors out there, but don't let the takeaway be that all of this stuff is just too complicated for you to handle. Here at Caplytica, we believe that anyone can manage their own wealth and do it well. If there's something you want to learn about, drop it down in the comments. We'd be happy to make a video about it. We'll see you in the next one.